very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Let's get started. As China holds long-range live-fire drills marking an escalation of exercises around Taiwan, what is the message that Beijing is trying to send out? Just how far will China go? That's our top focus on Gravitas tonight as we piece together the developments for you. That's coming up in just a bit, and here's a look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. Yemen's Houthi rebels claim that they have shot down another US drone flying over the country amid rising tensions in West Asia, and the US military is sending its second aircraft carrier. We decode what all of this means for the region. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is only worsening, intensifying the desperation among the people in Gaza. All this and lots more coming up. China is putting theory into practice. It's preparing for reunification with Taiwan, carrying out live simulations of a full-scale invasion, preparing to crush any resistance once and for all. The Chinese military, in fact, has just a short while back wrapped up the drills, saying it was aimed at paralyzing Taiwan and sending out a message to the US and Japan. These are the images released by the Chinese military showing how an invasion of the island could look.
As soon as the Communist Party of China, CPC, Central Committee, the Central Military Commission, CMC, and President Xi give the order, we will unsheath our swords without hesitation and take decisive action in the Taiwan Strait, resolutely crushing all separatist forces.
In fact, for the second consecutive day, China conducted military exercises in the East China Sea near the Taiwan Strait. The Chinese military said its forces conducted live-fire drills aimed at key infrastructure targets to test the PLA's capabilities and their ability to blockade Taiwan. Visuals on your screen showing Chinese troops, fighter jets, missile units in combat. China's ground forces can be seen testing their long-range strike capabilities, launching precision attacks on mock Taiwanese targets, targeting ports, energy facilities, military bases in these war simulations. Another visual showing fighter bombers forming attack squadrons, simulating large-scale air raids over Taiwan's most critical defense points. China's rocket force can also be seen locking in targets and running combat simulations. In this video footage, released by the PLA's Eastern Theater Command, rows of military trucks can be seen rolling into position, launching a barrage of missiles into the sky for a simulated enemy target. Beijing named this entire military operation Straight Thunder 2025, which took place in the central and southern parts of the Taiwan Strait as well as the East China Sea, considered a crucial route for global shipping. Newly released visuals of the drills released by China also showing aircraft carrier Shandong in action, striking ground and military targets east of Taiwan. Meanwhile, China's message as far as these drills are concerned is quite clear. I'm quoting here. Taiwan's punishment will not stop. Here's more.
As long as Taiwan independence provocation continues, anti-independence punishment will not stop. We will never allow anyone, any force, in any way to separate Taiwan from China. We will take all necessary measures to firmly safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity.
And that's not all. According to reports, the PLA seems to have deployed new hypersonic anti-ship missiles known as YJ-21 or Eagle Strike 21 missiles. During the drills, these missiles could be spotted on board a strategic PLA bomber. Experts said the deployment of the missiles was intended to deter the US from any potential interference in matters related to Taiwan. And reacting to the drills, Taiwan mobilized its Mirage 2000 fighter jets. Taiwan's defense ministry said 36 PLA aircraft were spotted in China's latest drills.
China's People's Liberation Army announced a so-called new name for the drills today, Straight Thunder 2025A. But no matter what the name is, it cannot cover up the stark, naked, provocative nature of the drills and their mentality of threatening Taiwan's people.
You see all these developments coming just a day after China deployed 76 Chinese aircraft, 15 naval vessels, 4 ships near the Taiwan Strait. 37 of those aircraft crossed the median line, violating Taiwan's air defense identification zone and putting the island on high alert. Since last year itself, China has steadily increased its deployment of fighter jets, naval forces, missile systems around Taiwan. But you see, with each exercise growing more intense, the goal becomes more obvious. Beijing is laying the groundwork for a full-scale invasion as China's war drums only get louder. The question still is Taiwan on course to an irreversible fate? And let's now shift our focus to West Asia. Yemen's Houthi rebels claim that they have shot down another US drone flying over the country. This even as the US continues its campaign of intense airstrikes targeting the group. The group also aired footage that they said showed the downed American MQ-9 Reaper drone in Marib province. The reported showdown over Yemen's province coming as airstrikes hit around Sana'a and Sadr, both Houthi strongholds. US President Donald Trump also issued a new warning to both the Houthis and its benefactor Iran. Trump said that the group was decimated by America's campaign of strikes that started March 15. And amid the rising tensions, the US military has sent its second aircraft carrier. On April 1, the US Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered additional forces to West Asia, including the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group and aircraft. Now, look at these satellite images coming up on your screen, showing the deployment of at least 6 nuclear-capable B-2 Spirit bombers to Camp Thunder Bay on Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. We told you just last night, tensions between the US and Iran have reached a fever peak. And now the Pentagon has announced that it will increase the number of US aircraft carriers in West Asia, keeping one that is already stationed in the Red Sea and sending another from Asia-Pacific region. And in a statement, the U.S. Assistant to the Secretary of Defense has said that the Harry S. Truman Carrier Strike Group will be joined by the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group to, quote-unquote, continue promoting regional stability, deter aggression, and protect the free flow of commerce in the region, quote-unquote. The USS Carl Vinson will arrive in the region after completing drills in the Indo-Pacific. Now, here's why this is significant. The 2-carrier presence in West Asia is rather unusual. You see, last year, former President Joe Biden also sent 2 carrier groups in a show of force. Only this time, it has come amid a dangerous level of escalation. On Sunday, Trump threatened to bomb Iran unless it signs a deal renouncing nuclear weapons. But instead of buckling under American pressure, Iran doubled down with its response. On Monday, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said that any attack by the US or Israel would be met with a firm retaliatory strike. Last week, Iranian foreign minister had made Tehran's stand very clear. There could be no direct talks with Washington as long as the Trump administration continues military threats. Not just that, the deployment of the American warships also comes amid continued US strikes against Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen. The US has launched a series of strikes against the Houthis, which Trump said have decimated the group. Remember, the Houthis started targeting commercial ships in the Red Sea in late 2023 in support of Palestinians facing Israeli bombardment in Gaza? The Yemen-based pro-Iran armed group threatened to renew attacking Israeli-linked shipping in Red Sea in response to Israel's breaking of the Gaza ceasefire. And according to reports, in the latest deadly strike by the US, 4 people have been reportedly killed in Yemen's Hodeidah region. The US has not confirmed that it carried out the attacks, but the local Al Masirah TV reported multiple American attacks hitting Sada and Sana'a regions. Houthi forces also claimed that they fired a number of cruise missiles and drones at American ships in the Truman aircraft carrier group. Al Masirah TV cited Houthis' statement, saying that it was the 3rd strike against US military ships in 24 hours. Since Washington launched its military offensive on the 15th of March, more than 60 people have reportedly been killed in Yemen. But the strikes against the Houthis is just one part of the larger proxy war between Iran and America, though the Pentagon has made no mention of which warplane has been sent to the region. News agency Reuters cited US officials as saying that at least 4 B-2 bombers have relocated to the strategic US-UK military base in the Indian Ocean, Diego Garcia. And Trump has already said that strikes on Houthi fighters would continue until they are no longer a threat to shipping. And in addition to threatening Iran with bombing, the White House has also warned that it will hold Tehran accountable if the Houthis fire at US forces. What happens here onwards is anybody's guess. But as things stand right now, with these new deployments, West Asia remains a major focus of concern for the Pentagon. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is worsening. According to the United Nations, all 25 bakeries in the enclave have shut down due to an acute shortage of flour and cooking gas, and attributing it to the continued blockage of aid by Israel, further intensifying the desperation among Gaza's people. With no flour to bake bread and no fuel to run ovens, the bakeries supported by the World Food Programme have now reportedly ceased operations. But Gaza's streets continue to be lined up with people waiting outside the closed bakery doors, hoping to find some food, only to return empty-handed.
I came here before dawn and went to all the bakeries in the area, but they were all closed. So I came back here in front of this bakery, hoping that God will bless us with bread. What can we do? Let them bring us flour and fuel. Why are they preventing us from getting them?
As you can see, the bakeries are closed and there is no flour. People rely on ready-made bread because they don't have cooking gas or firewood to bake at home. The closure of bakeries has worsened the crisis and the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza.
Meanwhile, Israel insists that food supplies in Gaza are sufficient. The Israeli military agency overseeing aid coordination posted on X that there is enough food in Gaza for a long period of time. The United Nations strongly refuted this claim, dismissing it as quote-unquote ridiculous.
With the WFP closing all the bakeries and Israel still keeping all the borders closed, Israel says there's still enough food that was delivered to Gaza during the ceasefire. What is the UN's response to that?
As far as the UN is concerned, that's ridiculous. I mean, we are at the tail end of our supplies, of the supplies that came in through the humanitarian route. You know, WFP doesn't close its bakeries for fun. If there's no flour, if there's no cooking gas, the bakeries cannot open.
Since the 2nd of March, Israel has blocked all aid to the enclave until Hamas releases all remaining hostages. Meanwhile, in a statement, Hamas accused Israel of deliberately starving the people of Gaza, claiming that Gaza has entered a state of famine in what they call one of the worst humanitarian disasters of modern times. Meanwhile, Israel has announced a major expansion of the military operations in Gaza, stating that large areas of the enclave would be seized and added to its security zones, with Israel's defense minister adding that evacuations would take place from such areas. With the Israeli military now directing Gazans living around the city of Rafah and Khan Yunis to move to the Al-Mawasi area on the shore. Israeli military operations continued on Wednesday, with Gaza's health ministry saying that at least 41 people lost their lives due to Israeli airstrikes. That, according to local reports, also included a strike on a UN clinic, claiming the lives of 19 people. And shifting our focus quickly to some breaking developments coming in right this minute. Is Elon Musk's tenure as senior advisor to President Trump coming to an end? Now, reports from the US are making this claim. And this development comes after Trump's earlier interview where the president said that he is looking to wrap up the special task that was assigned to Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency. And according to the report, Donald Trump has told his inner circle that the Tesla CEO will step back from his role in the administration in the coming few weeks. Quoting a few US officials, the report claims that both Trump and Musk have mutually decided that the billionaire will have a more diluted role going forward, as Musk also has business to take care of. Yet the timing of this report is very interesting. It comes just hours after a Democrat-backed candidate won the judicial election in the swing state of Wisconsin. Remember, Musk had pumped in more than $21 million in the race to back candidate Brad Schmill. In fact, the speculation over Musk's decreasing role in the Trump administration also coming at a time when the billionaire has been facing massive protests and backlash. Over the past few days itself, protesters have vandalized and set fire to several Tesla cars across several countries. According to the report, a senior American official has said that Musk will retain a more informal role as an advisor to Trump, and the frequency of his appearances is also likely to decrease. Many say the change is not shocking. Musk was brought on board as a special government employee, and this term will be expiring soon. Let's get in more details now from our correspondent Susan Teherani, who's with us from New York. Susan, what more can you share with us at this point?
So, Molly, while Politico is making this sound as if Donald Trump, for the first time, is confining to his inner circle, it's important to note that Elon Musk had earlier himself, in 2 consecutive interviews to Fox News, made very clear that his work is temporary and he will likely leave after the first 130 days of the Trump administration. Also, nothing breaking about the political story, considering the fact that President Trump himself, during executive signing and a press encounter live on television, said that ultimately Elon Musk will have to take care of his own business and other people will be able to take care of Doge. I do want to say when Doge was established, back when, I think you may remember, even Vivek Ramaswamy was involved in it, both Musk and Ramaswamy at that time said that the longest Doge is going to be operating under the Trump administration would be July of 2026. So while this is a lot sooner of a timeline, it's something that the administration had already planned. Now, whether or not, Donald Trump is also saying this to his inner circle, well, the whole world already knows that because of the press conference that he gave on Monday, essentially saying the exact same thing.
Right, very interesting developments there. We're leaving it there for the moment though, Susan. Thanks very much for joining us. And we will keep a close eye on the latest coming in on that front. Shifting focus for now, Russia has unleashed a deadly attack on Ukraine. 3 people have died in the central Ukrainian city, while 1 person died in a drone attack on Kharkiv. Ukrainian forces are retaliating with strikes in the Belgorod region. Over 200 combat clashes erupted on the front lines as both sides accuse each other of violating a fragile ceasefire. Our next report taking a closer look.
The conflict between Russia and Ukraine intensifies by the hour. Ukraine's defense forces have been repelling Russian attacks along the entire front line, with the most intense fighting on the Pokrovsk and Lyman fronts. Ukrainian military says a total of 216 combat clashes across the front lines have taken place. Russian forces are intensifying their assaults in this eastern region, aiming to cut off Ukrainian supply lines and gain a strategic advantage. Russian forces are also relentlessly targeting Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, with a barrage of drone strikes. Firefighters continue to douse the fires sparked by Russian assaults. The attacks have injured numerous civilians, including children, and sparked widespread fires in the city, which is close to the Russian border.
It was horrible. The drones were buzzing overhead, fell and exploded. I didn't count how many were there. Maybe 15 or 20. There were a lot.
The enemy conducted 15 strikes on 2 civilian enterprises in Kharkiv's Kolodnohirsky district. Fires erupted on 1,500 square meters. One of the fires is being put out.
Kharkiv's mayor claims that Russian missiles have been used in double-tap strikes, targeting first responders in a residential area. A double-tap strike involves bombing a target, waiting a period of 5 to 20 minutes, often during which first responders arrive, and then bombing it again. Ukraine's military claims these actions constitute war crimes. Moscow has repeatedly denied targeting civilian targets. Ukrainian forces are launching counterattacks in the Belgorod region of Russia. According to reports, Ukrainian troops have penetrated Russia's first line of defense in the area, and heavy fighting is underway. The region has been used by Russia to launch several attacks on Ukrainian frontline cities. This escalation comes as both sides complain to the US about strikes on energy sites, accusing each other of violating a partial ceasefire agreement. The situation remains volatile, with both military and diplomatic fronts experiencing heightened tensions. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
And at this point, here's a quick look at what else is lined up for you on the show tonight. With Trump's Liberation Day tariffs now on the horizon, what is known at this point and what will the possible impact of Trump's tariff moves be? We get to the latest from on the ground in Myanmar as we track the aftermath of the massive earthquake that struck the country. An asteroid that was feared to strike planet Earth could now hit the moon. Planet Earth will stay safe though. But what will this mean for the moon? All this and more coming up. Moving on for now and focusing on Trump's tariff moves. Flanked by cabinet members in the Rose Garden of the White House, Donald Trump is expected to roll out the measures at 4 p.m. local time, just a while from now. Trump has announced it's Liberation Day in America. However, a lot is not known about these Liberation Day tariffs at this point. The US president has merely said that he would be very kind and has given little away.
We are going to be very nice by comparison to what they were. The numbers will be lower than what they've been charging us, and in some cases maybe substantially lower, but we sort of have a world obligation perhaps. But we're going to be very nice. Relatively speaking, we're going to be very kind.
While Trump has insisted he has decided on the reciprocal tariffs hitting countries that have targeted the United States, the White House admitted he was still ironing out the details. Trump has trailed the measures for weeks, initially suggesting that the tariffs would simply match whatever levies other countries imposed. As the deadline drew near, US media reported that he had also been considering blanket 20% tariffs. And then there was a third open under consideration where some countries would get preferential treatment. White House has kept silent, with press secretary saying that she did not want to get ahead of the president. In fact, major economies, including the European Union, have vowed retaliation, and the European Union, which Trump has accused of trying to in fact, quote-unquote, screw the United States, said it still hoped to negotiate a solution, but that all instruments are on the table to retaliate if necessary. The EU will respond to the new tariffs before the end of April. This, according to the French government spokesperson. Spokeswoman Sophie Primas said there will be two responses. The first, which will take place in mid-April in response to the tariffs already decided on steel and aluminium. She added that there will be detailed studies, sector by sector, and a European decision would be announced before the end of April in a coordinated, united and strong way. However, the European Commission, which is in charge of the EU trade policy, did not quite confirm the French government's comment, saying France does not speak on behalf of the European Union when it comes to trade policy. Meanwhile, other top exporters are seeking to build up alliances to counter Washington, with China, Japan, South Korea speeding up talks on a free trade agreement. Trump has already raised duties on Chinese imports as well as steel, aluminium, some goods from Canada and Mexico. In case of additional tariffs, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, in fact, has said that his government would be very deliberate in terms of the measures that they take to fight for Canada. Mexico, on the other hand, has already lowered its 2025 growth forecast from between 2 to 3% to a range of 1.5 to 2.3%, citing tensions with its largest trading partner. But what exactly do the Americans think about the tariffs? How do they feel they would be impacted? Fox News conducted a poll in which 69% of the respondents said tariffs on imports will make products they buy more expensive. 7% said tariffs will make products less expensive, while 17% said there would be no difference in pricing. Time is slipping away on the ground in Myanmar, with over 3,000 dead and over 4,600 injured. Rescue teams battle collapsed infrastructure, military censorship, and scorching heat to try and locate the survivors. And as the junta continues airstrikes on rebel forces amid all that chaos, satellite images revealing a landscape of ruin. And a regime prioritizing control over crisis response, it seems. Take a look.
The clock is ticking. Rescuers are scrambling to find survivors in Myanmar. Many who survived the catastrophe are pleading for more help. A mammoth clear-up operation is currently underway. These images show a rescue crew searching through twisted wreckage of heavily damaged residential buildings.
I was in the monastery when the earthquake hit. In the past, I had only experienced small tremors, so I just sat and waited, too afraid to run outside. But this time, the earthquake was much stronger, and bricks were falling around the monastery. I felt like I was living in hell. and I ran outside to escape.
On March 28, two powerful earthquakes rocked central Myanmar. The first measuring 7.7 on the Richter scale, followed by a 6.4 magnitude tremor. The UN warns that the situation is critical. Myanmar lacks basic supplies, with the earthquake flattening entire communities and Myanmar's military engaged in fighting armed ethnic groups across the nation.
Please help me search for my little daughter. We had no connection because we had to live in the jungle in Momek. We are displaced people from war. My house was gone because of war, and she won't find our house even if she comes back. Please help us.
Rescue operations face immense challenges due to the ongoing aftershocks and damaged communication networks. Many areas are inaccessible, hampering efforts to reach people trapped in the rubble. Despite these obstacles, miraculous rescues continue. A 26-year-old man was brought out from the rubble in Naypyidaw, 100 hours after the earthquake. With the monumental task of building entire communities, countries have pledged millions in assistance to help Myanmar. India has flown in aid and sent 2 naval ships with supplies, as well as providing some 200 rescue workers to shift survivors to field hospitals. Workers from China and Russia are also continuing relief operations in Mandalay and Naypyidaw. Added to the misery of Myanmar is the ongoing civil war. Myanmar's junta has been accused of blocking aid to earthquake survivors due to continued airstrikes. With over 3 million people displaced from their homes and nearly 20 million in need even before the earthquake jolted the region, Myanmar needs immediate global attention. The monster quake also rocked neighboring Thailand, causing the collapse of a high-rise building under construction in Bangkok. The hopes of finding any survivors from the rubble of this collapsed building is slowly fading. As rescuers continue their relentless search for life amid the rubble, every minute counts in this race against time.
Shifting focus now to India, this story is about a real-world money heist that played out quite literally, involving looting banks and high-intensity robbery worth crores. But this is also a story about the revenge of the common man, inspired by a popular show, which led to an intense cat-and-mouse chase and finally a breakthrough. In Karnataka, the police has nabbed a 6-member group of robbers involved in a theft. This was at the State Bank of India back in October 2024. And the recovery from these gang members has been astounding, to say the least. 17.7 kilograms of gold, which is estimated to be valued at 13 crore rupees, roughly $1.5 million. That's nearly the cumulative wealth of all the customers who had reportedly deposited their assets to the bank, hoping for them to remain safe. And instead, a locker full of golden ornaments was retrieved from a well in the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu.
So Vijay Kumar, he along with his 2 relatives and 3 friends has planned this bank robbery, and in due course of 6 months he has got those skills from seeing the videos on YouTube and Netflix, especially Money East, and he has told that he has learned the skills from these videos.
This is no ordinary robbery, but one which had been planned and plotted meticulously for days and months, culminating into a well-thought-out heist inspired by crime series and YouTube videos, including popular Spanish drama titled Money Heist. Also noteworthy is the fact that the mastermind behind this high-profile bank theft, Vijay Kumar, is no professional in the area, but a mere shop owner from Tamil Nadu. However, given the manner in which he managed to pull off the stunt with his brother and 4 other people in his gang, it would seem otherwise, such as breaking into the bank through a window or using silent hydraulic iron cutters to remove the grills of the window. All in all, it seemed to be a clean act, executed with utmost precision, as the robbers did not leave any trace or clue behind, which made it even harder for the police to crack the case. But the question is, what motivated Vijay to carry out the heist in the first place? The investigation reveals that it was out of sheer revenge, as the same bank had denied him a loan of rupees 15 lakh reportedly back in August 2023. Not just that, reports suggesting he was also reeling under financial troubles, which pushed him to commit the crime. After thousands of pages of government documents on JFK's assassination were released, the director of the 1991 film, Oliver Stone, called for a renewed investigation into the president's murder. Stone's film portrayed the assassination of President John F. Kennedy as the work of government conspiracy. Testifying at a hearing of the House Task Force on the declassification of federal secrets, Oliver said that decades of delays in releasing unredacted records had prevented clarity about who killed Kennedy. This follows the release of thousands of pages of government documents related to the assassination. Last month, furthermore, Stone indicated that U.S. government agency, Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA, is behind the delay in the JFK files. He described the CIA as a tax-funded agency that arrogantly believes it is outside law. He also added that nothing of importance has been revealed by the CIA in all these years. Listen in to what he said.
Let us reinvestigate the fingerprints of intelligence all over Lee Harvey Oswald from 1959 to 1960, his violent death in 1963. And most importantly, this CIA, whose muddy footprints are all over this case, a true interrogation.
Not just Stone, journalist and author Jefferson Morley and author James Eugenio, who have written books arguing for conspiracies being behind the assassination, testified in front of the House as well. Listen in.
It's a cliche, but it's true. Secrecy is the enemy of democracy. It's the enemy of the Republican form of government. And an misinformed or uninformed public cannot make good decisions. And a compliant press helps cushion the public from that fact.
And Morley testified that the newly released materials show that members of the CIA lied about what they know about Lee Harvey Oswald, according to him, before the assassination. But the key thing that came out of the task force's hearing is the line of questioning whether Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in fatally shooting Kennedy on a motorcade route in Dallas. At this point, everyone seems to have a version of the story, and the revelations of the Trump administration as of now do not suffice in terms of the attempt to uncover the truth. Needless to say, the JFK assassination issue has turned into a political slugfest of sorts between the Democrats and the Republicans, and the allegations of the involvement of the CIA making things far more complex, which also, by the way, found a mention in the declassified files for its covert operations conducted through decades and its secret bases worldwide. Even as the task force vows more transparency for the American people, will the CIA itself come clean with its own account? And anytime soon, we will have to wait and watch. In India, the BJP-led NDA government has tabled a Waqf amendment bill in the lower house of the parliament. The bill was tabled amid uproar by the opposition parties that termed it anti-minority and anti-constitution. The Indian parliament proceedings began on a rather stormy note, with the opposition putting up a united front against the amendment to the 1995 Waqf bill.
व्यवस्था नियम से चलेगा किसी भी व्यक्ति को बैठे बैठे कोई भी सदस्य जो बोल रहा हो उसके बीच में टिप्पणी करने का अधिकार नहीं है माननीय मंत्री जी
The bill was introduced by the Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister, highlighting the removal of Section 40 that he termed was the most draconian provision in the Act. It allows the conversion of any land into Waqf property by the boards. Rijiju asserted that there were prolonged consultations with opposition on the proposed changes through the Joint Parliamentary Committee process, describing the JPC process as the largest exercise it had undertaken on any issue in India's democratic history. The concept of Waqf pertains to the Muslim community. It refers to properties that are exclusively dedicated for religious and charitable purposes under the Islamic law. The properties earmarked as Waqf can be used for mosques, graveyards, charitable organizations, educational and health facilities. In fact, the Union Home Minister also called out the opposition for objecting to the bill despite being a part of the panel that worked on the proposed changes to the bill.
आपका ही आग्रह था कि कमेटी जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी बने अगर कमेटी ने कोई बदलाव ही नहीं करने हैं तो ये कांग्रेस जैसी कमेटियां नहीं हमारी लोकतांत्रिक कमेटी है मान्यवर जो दिमाग चलाती है कांग्रेस के जमाने में कमेटियां होती थी जो थप्पा लगाती थी हमारी कमेटी चर्चा करती है चर्चा के आधार पर विचार करती है और परिवर्तन करती है अगर परिवर्तन को स्वीकार ही नहीं करना है तो कमेटी काहे को लिए है भाई
The central government maintains that the changes to the original bill seek to address issues and challenges in regulating and managing Waqf properties. In fact, the opposition disagrees with the centre's assertion that it will improve the administration and management of Waqf properties in India. Even as the bill did not secure a bipartisan support, it sailed through the lower house as the centre enjoys a strong majority in the house, while the opposition has time and again called the bill anti-minority. Some Muslim outfits welcomed the changes to the Waqf Act 1995, holding celebratory rallies. The Waqf Amendment Bill will now be taken up in the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of the parliament, on Thursday. For the past year, the BJP-led NDA government has pushed for sweeping reforms to the existing bill. In fact, the government maintains that amendments are necessary to regulate and improve management and efficiency of the properties under the Waqf board. However, opposition and many Muslim organizations have opposed certain provisions of the amended bill. Two changes in the bill are the most contentious. First, the clause which says that at least 2 members of the Waqf Council have to be non-Muslims, as opposed to the existing bill which stipulated that all members have to be Muslims. Second, the existing bill said that decisions of the Waqf Tribunal in contentious matters will be final. However, the amendment now says that the tribunal's order can be appealed in the High Court within 90 days. Is a college degree still the ticket to long-term success, or is it losing its value in the United States? With student debt soaring and income premiums shrinking, we break down whether the investment in higher education is still worth it in the United States. Take a look.
Once hailed as the golden ticket to success, the college degree has long been the crown jewel of American higher education. But with student debt climbing and job markets shifting, many are asking, is the degree premium still the treasure it once was? The numbers tell an interesting story. For 25 to 34-year-olds, a bachelor's degree still boosts income by 200% to be exact. But before you break out the champagne, consider this. In 1960, that premium peaked at 237%. As more Americans earn degrees, the return on investment is starting to shrink faster. When it comes to gender and race, the stakes vary. Women once lagging in higher education now see diminishing returns from their degrees, while men's income has stagnated. Asians continue to cash in on the college jackpot, while Hispanic and women of color enjoy the best bang for their buck, even though their degree rates lag behind. Despite these mixed returns, one thing is clear: a degree still pays higher dividends in most cases, just not quite as richly as before. So is college worth it? Well, that depends on who you ask. But with some savvy choices, a degree still offers a decent payout. Business Bureau WION World is One.
Britain's MI5 is stepping out of the shadows, unveiling a rare glimpse into its past. For the first time, the public can explore a collection of secret files and spy gadgets, chronicling some of the most significant espionage cases in the agency's 115-year history. An exhibition titled MI5 Official Secrets in London offers a rare opportunity to examine authentic spy equipment and gain insight into the covert world of British intelligence.
And as you enter the gallery, you'll feel like you're stepping into the hidden world of MI5. You'll see top secret files, personal memos, gadgets, photographs, interviews, confessions, a whole range of things.
The display further provides a first-hand look at the methods spies have used throughout history to conceal and gather intelligence. One of the most intriguing artifacts on display is a seemingly ordinary lemon, which played a crucial role in convicting a German spy over a century ago. Karl Muller, executed in 1915 at the Tower of London, used lemon juice to pen invisible messages between the lines of his letters. British intelligence intercepted his coded correspondence, ultimately leading to his capture and conviction.
Was fatal for a German spy, Karl Muller, who came to Britain in 1915. It helped to convict him because Karl Muller was using lemon juice to write secret messages in between the lines of an otherwise innocuous letter that was intercepted, and he was tracked down, tried, found guilty and executed by a firing squad at the Tower of London.
The exhibition also sheds light on the infamous Cambridge 5 double agents who leaked British secrets to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Surveillance reports and personal documents related to spies like Donald Maclean and Guy Burgess offer an unfiltered look at some of Britain's most infamous betrayals. The exhibition gives a glimpse of a world shrouded in secrecy, giving the public a rare chance to see what really happens behind the closed doors of British intelligence. Initially feared to strike planet Earth, an asteroid has now shifted its sights onto a new target, it seems. The city-killer asteroid is no longer a threat to our planet, but poses a potentially catastrophic scenario for our lunar companion. Take a look.
Asteroids are rocky and metallic objects that orbit the Sun. These rocky remnants of material left over from the formation of the solar system. They come in all shapes and sizes. They are space wanderers, often capturing our imagination with tales of potential earthly encounters. The latest among these celestial celebrities is Asteroid 2024 WION. Discovered in December 2024, WION initially raised eyebrows with a 3.1% chance of colliding with Earth by December 2032. However, careful observations, including emergency sessions with the James Webb Space Telescope, have revealed that this scenario is far-fetched. Earth can breathe easy. for now. But while our planet is off the hook, the moon might not be as fortunate. Current calculations suggest a 1.7% to 2% chance that 2024 YR4 could impact the moon on December 22, 2032. Though the odds are slim, the possibility has put the scientific community on high alert. Should 2024 YR4 make lunar contact, the event would be spectacular. Traveling at an estimated velocity of 61,000 km/h, the asteroid could create a crater up to 150 meters wide, releasing energy equivalent to several megatons of TNT. Some experts believe the impact flash could be visible from Earth, offering a rare celestial show. The universe is a vast expanse of mysteries with asteroids like 2024, YR4 serving as reminders of a dynamic environment beyond our atmosphere. While the moon might experience a cosmic nudge, we on Earth can continue to gaze upward, ever curious about the next celestial adventure unfolding above us.
Greek islands were hit by flash floods with heavy rainfall, which is set to continue. In fact, there were no reports of injuries on the islands, which are popular tourist destinations. The mayor of Paros saying a creek had overflowed in the fishing village of Nausa, flooding businesses and homes and carrying off nearly 40 vehicles. It further said the storm front was moving to the islands of Samos and Ikaria. National Weather Service saying that the front, accompanied by gale force winds of up to 74 kilometers per hour, was dangerous. Schools were preventively shut on Tuesday. On the islands of Paros, Rhodes, Simi. In fact, the Civil Protection Service sent cell phone alerts to residents, instructing them to stay indoors, while emergency services rescued stranded motorists. Municipal crews and private contractors worked to clear the roads blocked by fallen rocks. The highly anticipated teaser is out, making Pakistani actor Fawad Khan's return to Bollywood after a 9-year-long pause since Ae Dil Hai Mushkil. Co-starring Vani Kapoor, the film promises a charming love story set against the scenic backdrop of London. It is scheduled to release on the 9th of May this year. However, the return is already facing significant opposition. The teaser offers a glimpse into a romantic narrative, intertwining humor and heartfelt moments, showcasing the chemistry between